Okay. Hi, everyone, and welcome to IBTM Connect. My name is Laura Jensen, and I'm the Content and Community Executive for the IBTM portfolio. Everyone here hopes you're staying safe and well, and thank you for being with us today. IBTM Connect is all about keeping you engaged and united as an industry as we work together to bring you the best possible content. Today, we have Cristina Erazo, social media consultant and trainer from Salt Social Media, joining us. Over the last 7 years, Cristina and her team have helped hundreds of companies get online and grow their businesses using social media. She'll be discussing the 5 social strategies you can use to keep connected and maintain relationships with your audience during COVID-19. Thank you for being here, stay safe, and please join me in giving a warm welcome to Cristina.
Hey, everybody. I'm going to do that myself. I'm going to just imagine that you guys are all clapping and things. Oh, thank you. Thank you. That was so wonderful. Moving to webinars instead of doing in person, I was just talking to Laura. It's just been different because I don't see all of your beautiful faces, but I'm going to pretend. You've got a questions chat. So if you have anything, any questions as we go through this, please feel free to do that. Hannah will be monitoring that for me and kind of throwing questions in. So as I go, I'm going to be monitoring that. If I'm a little late answering your question, I apologize. I'm just kind of in a groove and I'll get to you when I can. Okay, so let me move over to the slides and we can get right into this. Let me share my screen here. All right, so as we said, we've got 5 social strategies to maintain long distance relationships with your audience during COVID-19. I am Cristina Erazo. I'm the owner of Salt Social Media, and I do a lot of trainings and things like this. So you are in good hands. What we're going to start off with, kind of something a little basic, and then we're going to kind of go into the 5 social strategies that I'm going to talk about today. But this is going to set the base of everything else that we talk about. So how does the algorithm work? This is complex and it's mysterious in the ways of everything. I mean, everybody asks about how the algorithm works. The little details on how those social media companies kind of maintain their algorithm or do it are obviously hush hush. But if you kind of think about it this way, social media companies are for-profit companies. They're not made to do anything except to make them more money. So when you're talking about the algorithm for business pages, they want to know how they can make themselves more money. And how they do that is not necessarily through all of the ads, because they know whether your ads work or not, there's going to be somebody there to take your place. It's going to be how long people stay on the platform. And how they do that is being able to create an algorithm of posts and things that they want to see at the very top of in their feeds that keep them on the platform for as long as possible. So let's say you're rolling through your feed and you start engaging with some posts. One post is from mom, one post is from aunt, one post is from cousin, and you like their posts. When you like their posts, Facebook kind of triggers going, hey, they seem to like their posts a lot. We're going to make sure that they show up higher in their feed. When you don't like somebody's post, when you scroll past it a couple times, you're like, oh, you know what? They're not caring about this person or this brand. So we're not going to have them show up higher in their feed at the moment. How people engage with you as a business or as a person affects where you show up in their feed. Because if they see people and things that they like on a regular basis, they're going to show those posts up higher on a regular basis. If you're not necessarily engaging with them, they're not going to show it, because they want those people to stay online for as long as possible. When they stay online for as long as possible, they see more ads, they engage with more ads, and they engage with more businesses as they kind of move forward. But if their algorithm doesn't show posts that they like, it's not going to happen. So when we're talking about the algorithm in general, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're at the top of their feeds. And how you do that is that you've got to figure out who your audience is, who is actually on your social media pages right now, why they're following you, and what they want. When you combine that with your goals, the reason that you're on social media in the first place, and what you want to do, you kind of think of it like a Venn diagram situation. There's overlap in there somewhere. That overlap is your sweet spot, right? If you go too far into your goals, your things into your head, you get a lot of people, you talking about you. And when you're having a conversation and you are talking about you all day long, people tune you out because they think you're boring and they don't necessarily want to hear it about you all the time, right? When you kind of focus on them 24/7 without talking about you at all, the second you start to ask them something or you start to creep your goals and things in there, they're gonna be like, no. I follow this page because it's all about me. All I care about is me, right? So there's a sweet little balance in there. You want to find that overlap to be able to find your engagement and to hit your goals at the same time, right? So how does the algorithm work? They're for-profit companies, right? So you want to make them look good as much as possible by posting engaging content that works for you and works for your audience at the same time, which gives them a reason to kind of like it so that you show up higher in their feeds. And there's a lot of ways that you can do that. And we're going to go into that right now. Okay. Moving forward. All right. So my first one is to be there. Let's make this a little bigger. There we go. Meet your audience where they're at. So I talked about this a little bit already. Know them. Who are your followers now? And who do you want them to be? So if you have, say, 1,000 followers, right? You can go into your insights and you can go into your analytics and you can figure out where they're from, what languages they speak, who they are. And then you can take a look at the content that you've posted, right? The content that you've posted, you've got, say you've got 10 likes on one, 0 likes on another, 100 likes on something. Those numbers can tell you exactly what you're trying to figure out. If you post something over and over and over again and it's not getting the engagement you're looking for, it's probably because they don't care about it. If you post something and it's getting a ton of engagement, it means that that's something they necessarily care about. So you kind of have to figure that out. Try posting a whole bunch of different things. Obviously, that works with your brand and that works for them. And then see kind of where you're starting to get those numbers rolling up. So that's how you kind of figure out who your followers now. If you're posting content that you believe matches your goals and matches who your target audience wants them to be, and it's not hitting well, then maybe you have the wrong audience on your social media pages. And it happens, right? When you're first growing your social media pages, you think that your target audience is one thing, right? You are so sure that your target audience is grandmas with 2 grandkids and that, I don't know, that go to the park on Sundays. I'm just making things up. But you realize, halfway into this strategy that you are so wrong, that your target market isn't the grandmas, it's the moms. You want to hit the moms. So you're posting content for the moms, but all you got on the social media pages are grandmas. So what you got to do is you got to figure out how to get the moms back on the page. So you kind of go from who your followers are now and who do you want them to be. And then you find a path to who you want them to be, get them on your pages, and engagement goes up because now you've got the right people on your page, the right content, and now you have that inside of that Venn diagram. So, which goes to my next point, to have a plan. Pick your platforms and stick to them. When we talk about that sort of thing, you want to make sure that the platforms that you're picking have your target market on it. It's hard to say that, I know a lot of people say that Facebook's not in it anymore. Facebook is not the thing. But here, Facebook has 2.5 billion, with a B, billion, monthly active users. There's a target market there. So don't, right? Then you've got Instagram. Instagram's the new thing that almost everybody's on. And then we've got TikTok. TikTok's for the generation, 2 generations under than me, right? With the dances and the beats and it's kind of like the new Vine, but a little different. And then you've got Twitter, which is the open platform, which can hit internationally because anybody can see it. And you've got Pinterest, which is mostly women. However, the men are kind of taking this up with posting with blogs and influencers and videos. And then YouTube. YouTube's the second largest search engine online, and believe it or not, second largest search engine online, owned by Google, yet Google AdWords, right? Expensive platform to advertise on. YouTube, second largest search engine in the world, 30% cheaper than Google AdWords because nobody's advertising on it. Figure out what platforms your audience is on, the one that you want to hit, and hit those platforms. But don't overextend yourself, right? You hit way too many platforms that you can't monitor. Then you've got an audience going, hey, where are you? What's going on? I'm trying to have a conversation with you here on YouTube, but you haven't posted anything in 6 months. There's a balance, right? Definitely a balance. When you figure out what your target market is, right? Let's go into this a little bit. Everyone is not a target market. You try to get everybody and you run out of money. That's just how life is. If you're in a room with 30 people and let's say who they are is on their name tag, right? You only got an hour, right? Think of the time limit as your budget, your budget to advertise, or how many people you can talk to, right? Who do you want to spend that time with? Who would give you the biggest return on investment for your time? That's going to be your main target market. Now, most of you are going to have multiples of those, right? So you have multiple target markets, and that's totally fine. But in your strategy, you want to focus on the main one, get it, and then get your smaller markets kind of down the line. That way, you focus on something that's going to give you the biggest return on your investment. And then all of those smaller categories, they'll either come and bring that in because that's what they're looking for, or you can focus them on smaller campaigns as well. But you focus on the one that's going to give you the biggest return so that you have the capital, the time, whatever you need to do to get to everybody else in your target market. So let's, here's an example, right? I've got Pepsi, right? This is not product placement, I promise. So do you think it's a cheaper campaign to get, or what do you think has more value? Does it have more value for Pepsi to run a campaign to get Pepsi drinkers to drink more Pepsi? Or is it a more profitable campaign to get Coca-Cola drinkers to drink more Pepsi? I'll give you time to think about that for a second. Anybody got an answer? I'm looking at the chat. I don't see anything just yet. Okay. So the correct answer is it's a more valuable campaign to get Pepsi drinkers to drink more Pepsi than it is to get Coca-Cola drinkers to drink Pepsi. The reason is have you ever tried to get a Coca-Cola drinker to drink Pepsi or vice versa? Seriously, it takes a lot of money to be able to have someone with brand loyalty switch brands than it takes for somebody who already uses a product or service to use that product or service again. For example, it is actually a cheaper campaign for you to take every single person that you have ever talked to in your career as a business and to get them to use your product or service again than it is, no matter what the outcome was, whether it was good or bad, than it is to get someone new to come into it. And the reason for that is that people like to use people that they know, like, and trust. And you've already done that. You've spent the time and you've spent the things getting to know them, they've already trusted you to use their service. So it doesn't necessarily matter what the outcome was. They're going to trust you to use their service again, because over time, they're going to realize that they already trust you, right? You go to define your goals. Knowing what your goals are set and the tone for your whole strategy, right? Figure out what your goals are. Your business goals and your social media goals for that social media plan, and then use that in your strategy. Watch your numbers. We talked about this a little bit too. Numbers don't lie. They will tell you everything you need to know. Make sure that you have the analytics and that you look at them. Take a look at which posts work, which posts didn't work, and try to figure out why. Why did these posts work? Is it because it's not the right audience? Is it because it wasn't that interesting of a program or a post? Or is it because you posted just a post because you thought you needed a post on Tuesdays, and then you didn't think of anything at that moment, so you just kind of posted like, hey, good morning, have a great day, and that was pretty much it. People were like, okay, thanks, and they kind of scrolled past it without engaging with it. What was the reason that they didn't engage with you? Watch those numbers and then focus on them, right? Always respond. Now, this is the one thing that a lot of people have issues with, right? We have this innate fear of people saying bad things about us or people saying bad things about your brand. There's always a way for you to respond in a positive manner that makes you look good, right? Say like those review sites that everybody kind of worries about. I got a lot of business owners who's like, I'm just not going to do those review sites. They're just not my thing. It's like, well, what a lot of people don't know is you don't need to set up a review site. If somebody wants to leave a review for you, they can set up the review site for you and then leave a review on the site they set up. Yelp allows users to be able to do that because they don't want you to be able to kind of get at that. So, but when you kind of look at those reviews, right? And everybody does this. Everybody looks at the negative reviews first. Everybody looks at whatever somebody says negative first. But how you respond to what someone says about you can make the biggest difference in your brand feel and you being there to the people that are reading it than anything else. I mean, even if someone is saying things that may not necessarily be true, it's more for the person who's reading it on the other end, whether it's not necessarily the original poster, but everybody else, right? You get thousands of people looking at reviews, millions of billions of people looking at reviews on a monthly basis. People are looking to how you respond, and how you respond can make your difference, right? So, step number 1, be there, right? Let's move forward. Step number 2, dress to impress. Now, you want to learn how to create content that attracts their attention, and is true to your voice, right? So, knowing your brand is very important. Do you have a style guide? Or do you know what a style guide is? Or brand voice guidelines? So, a style guide is really something, and it's probably anywhere between 3 and 10 pages long. And it talks about your logo and your fonts and how to use your logo in a proper manner and how often to use your logo and what colors you should use on a regular basis. Those are the things that are associated with your brand. Now, if you think of big companies like Target, right? They've got a red and white Target, and almost 99.9%, I'm going to give myself a margin of error just in case there's something else. But their catalogs are red and white. Their posts are red and white. Almost everything that they have is red, white, and you've got some black text and things in there because that's brand. That's how their branding is. So even if their logo isn't on it, how their brand looks and how everything looks on there is going to tell you that this is a Target ad, or it's a Target promotion, or it's a Target piece of content because of how they've branded their company, right? So do you have a style guide that tells you how your company wants to be branded? And if not, maybe you should get one, or maybe you should figure out how you want to do that. Then there's brand voice guidelines. Brand voice guidelines are kind of like a style guide, but they are how you want your brand to feel when somebody's talking to you, how you should respond to things, how if you want your brand to be known for something, what makes you unique, your unique selling proposition. How do you want to portray that? Do you guys talk slang? Do you guys talk properly? Do you guys sound like Oxford scholars, or do you guys sound like people on the street with a microphone? Who are you, and how do you speak? And to continue that into your social media strategy and your online marketing strategy is extremely important, which is why you need to live your brand, right? You follow those guidelines and you trust your gut. And what I mean by trusting your gut is that, and we can kind of move forward on this, is that everywhere you go, somebody is talking about the next new social media trend, right? There's always something that you should be doing, always something that you should be pushing forward. Trust your gut, right? So just like in fashion, social media has trends, but also like in fashion, trends are not one size fits all. Just because somebody else is doing it does not mean you should do it. Get out of that social pressure and get out of thinking that that's that. I spend my life, my career, my business life telling people that if it doesn't feel right to you, don't do it. And what I mean by that is that if you don't feel comfortable, if you don't feel like this is the thing, or if you don't feel like this trend would make you want to buy or you want to take action in some way, then you don't feel it, you don't know how it works, you shouldn't do it. It's not right for your audience, right? What's right for your audience is what you think will work. What's right for your audience is what you're passionate about. But stop trying to copy all these people, especially if the results aren't even there, right? You go to your competitor and you go, oh my gosh, what they're doing is so cool. That is awesome. I want to do that. But you kind of take a look at their results, they're not doing it right. Or that thing is so cool that they're doing. However, right, I wouldn't buy what they're doing. If it doesn't convince you to take the action that they want you to do, don't do it, right? Just do what feels right to you. Trust your gut, right? Then we can kind of move back a little bit. For dress the part, you probably won't go viral. The only time you'll go viral is trying to make it happen, or if you've got somebody really clever on your team. But you can be engaging, right? So be true to yourself, because we can all spot fakes a mile away. When you're trying to use slang, like when you're having a conversation and you're trying to use slang and you're not comfortable with it, like shipping, right? Like when you ship two people together, I'm okay saying that word, but you can tell in my face that I'm not necessarily great with it. It's not a word that's in my normal vocabulary. Why on earth would you say things online that you are not comfortable saying out loud in person? Be aware of what you say, because they're going to see right through you, right? If you're using slang you're not comfortable with, don't do it, because they're going to look at you and they're going to be like, that's not how that word's supposed to be used. Because they're going to know. or they're not going to understand you because you've got the wrong audience, or there's a million different things. Be comfortable with what you say online. And on my next slide, it actually says, if you wouldn't say it in person, don't say it online, right? We all have education in some way, shape, or another, and we've all had English teachers that tell you to put the period here and the comma here and the apostrophe there. But on social media, you want to have a conversation with the people that are following you at their level, right? So you need to speak at their level, whatever that level may be. And 9 times out of 10, it's conversational. You don't want to be proper. You want to do it like if it was a text message, not necessarily the letter R and the letter U and things of that nature. But you definitely want to make sure that you're having a conversation with people instead of talking at them or scholaring them, because people don't like to be talked about that way or talked to that way. They also don't like reading. So if you make it a novel that, unless you've got a group of people who really enjoy novels, depending on your audience, right? Don't make it sound like a novel. All right, let's move forward here. Prove that chivalry isn't dead. Pull out the red carpet. They deserve it, right? They're your audience for a reason. They support you. Talk to them about it. It's not always about you, just like what I was saying before. There is a Venn diagram about what you want and what your goals want, what your goals are, and what they want, and the reason that they're following you and what they get from you, and that Venn diagram, what ends up in the middle. It's not always about you. If you want it to be about you, that's public relations, right? That is not social media. Social media, your personal social media, is about a conversation. If you want people to say how awesome you are, you need other people to do it. You got to get in articles. You got to get on talk shows. You got to get other people to say how wonderful you are, because then people believe it. But if I stood on this, I'm sat on this webinar and I just told you how wonderful I was for an hour, you would go leaving, wow, that girl is full of it. But if I sat here and other people was telling you how wonderful I was, you'd be like, oh my gosh, we are so lucky to have this person doing this webinar for us, because other people are doing that. That's why people have introductions. That's what public relations is. Your social media platforms is not a place for you to say you are the best in the world every second of every day. But it's a way for you to tell them that they're the best. They are the most amazing audience that they can be for. And then you are providing something for them, right? Open the door. Make it easier for people to talk to you. Have those conversations, right? Let's push forward. Why I see something that happens a lot is that people get hung up on the details. When is the perfect time to post, right? That's later. Don't worry about that right now. Post now, today. Do it right now. As we are having this webinar, get on your phone and post something. Post anything. See what happens. And then if it doesn't work, post something else. You are going to fail over and over and over again. And that's okay. It's totally fine. But the difference is that once you take a chance and it doesn't work out the way you want it to, you have to adapt what you're doing to make it work for you. If you're not adapting to what you're doing to make it work for you, then what's the point? Doing the same thing over and over again is the literal definition of insanity, right? Don't get hung up on the details. Do something. And then from that something, you'll either win or fail, right? Or maybe it's something in between. Adjust it, move forward. You're going to go forward again. You're going to win or fail. Then you're going to create this strategy. And you're going to create this campaign that's based on 100 posts, 10 posts, 50 posts that didn't necessarily go anywhere. And now you have this amazing, engaging campaign that's doing something for you. but you post the same things over and over again, expecting different results. I mean, it's not going to go anywhere. Stop getting hung up on the details. Do something, then build on it, right? You'll get to the details. You'll get to when is the best time to post, because you're going to know, because you're going to test it, because you're going to look at your analytics, and you're going to notice that almost all of your users are on 5 p.m. your time on Tuesdays. It's going to be a thing, right? Just try something. Go on dates. You'll never keep the relationship alive if you don't take it offline. Where else are you putting this audience? Are they just on your social media, or are they on your email campaigns? Do you have text message campaigns? Do you have a website that they can go on to that they can also do things on? Do you have webinars like this that you can do? Where else are you putting these people? If they're just on your social media, it's not going to help you. It's not going to help you a ton. They need to be able to go other places in your marketing scheme, right? Make it personal. People think everything is automated. Show them that you're not. When you have people messaging you on Facebook or Instagram, I mean, yeah, it's a new thing to have the chat box, the chat bots, but make sure that it's personalized. Make sure that people understand that they're going to get to talk to a person, that they are going to work with that on a regular basis. You need to personalize the things. But again, it's the same thing. Stop copying other people that are doing things. If you don't like it, if you're not impressed, just don't do it. Make a grand gesture. Now, let me see if I can actually, I want to show you something really funny on that. So Groupon, right? I'm going to see if I can stop sharing this for a second and move to a different tab. A little bit about what I'm going to talk about is Groupon did something really cool. Groupon is, if you're not familiar with it, it's an online site that sells other people's products. And they normally do it at a discount. Now, Groupon realized that there was this product that looked inappropriate, but it was completely PG. And it was something called a banana bunker. And I don't know if some of you guys know this story, but Adweek picked it up, and it's been my favorite story to tell for it. You're going to notice that the date on this is 5 years ago, and they still run this campaign to this day. So the banana bunker did not sell. They didn't sell at all. All it did was people made fun of it because they didn't care about it. So Groupon devised a plan. And this is one of those times where they actually devised a plan, and they knew for a fact, based on everything else that was going on with this product, that they were going to go viral, right? So this is the banana bunker, right? It covers your banana in a lunch pail or a lunch box. Make sure that it's still fresh and it's not bruised by the time you get it, right? If you're laughing, this is what they posted. And they're like, this is the banana bunker, and it's selling on Groupon. It says right here in the very first line, if you think you're laughing at Groupon, think again. That post was the most popular Facebook upload ever. And it was a joke that Groupon was totally in on. So they post this and they said, banana bunker is available, right? This product did not sell for obvious reasons, right? Because it looks inappropriate, right? So this is one of their new ones. We're contractually obligated to let you know the banana bunker is still featured on a site. The thing is, what they did with this, right, is that for every joke that was posted about the banana bunker, they had a team of social media people. And I'm going to kind of pull back so you can kind of see me here. For every joke that was made about the banana bunker, they had a team of social media people responding in a positive and PG manner. So if you made a joke in any way, shape, or form, they responded in a way that was brilliant. And they made this the biggest joke on Facebook ever. And they repost it every single time the banana bunker is on their site. And let me tell you, the comments go on for days. And these people, this social media team, responds every single time within 5 minutes. So when you're going through this, it's brilliant, the banana bunker. When you're going through this campaign, it increased all of the sales on Groupon. They sell out within minutes now. And the engagement that they got on this page gave them probably, what was the number? It was tens of thousands of followers within a couple of days. It was insane. And they took something that was a joke and they made it into something that was real. And it was just brilliant, right? Brilliant. But they were true to their brand. They did everything in a PG manner. And they made sure that everybody knew their brand voice. They made it personal, right? And they made a grand gesture. They're just like, hey, this isn't selling. And they figured out a plan and they took care of it and they pushed forward. So moving forward, PG. So the question, I have a question in here going, what does a PG manner mean? The banana bunker, it looks R-rated, but it's not. So a lot of people were making R-rated jokes. So in a PG manner, meaning that, let me see if I can read one here. One person said, how do I hold my banana bunker? And they were saying that human contact is always a great way to show something or somebody how much you care. And make sure that you let it know that you're proud of its snack fruit protection. So they responded PG to every single comment, or innuendo or anything that they kind of took forward because it was a PG product. It just didn't look like it was. And it was wonderfully done, right? And they responded to every single person. Moving on, unless we have any more questions, to improve your small talk, right? Oh, we have another one. PG. PG is parental guidance. It's a movie standard. So Disney films would be PG. Things with a little more content would be PG-13. So parental guidance for anything that's under for kids under 13. And then rated R would be anything that would be, at least here, I'm in California, anything that would be, you would have to be 16 or over, 18 and over to go see. Okay. Improve your small talk, right? Small talk hardly warrants a response even in person, right? If you ask how your day's going, people normally say good, and then they kind of move on, right? So if you ask how people's day is going online, I mean, unless you're a therapist or you have something where your audience where you actually have to ask how your day is going, it's probably not going to get a ton of engagement, right? So if you wouldn't say it in person to start a conversation, don't say it online. If you wouldn't say the word, like when we're talking about slang in person, don't say it online. The conversation is key, right? And although they're called your audience, you're going to have to break the fourth wall, which the fourth wall meaning that if we're right here, right? I'm talking directly at the camera. I'm talking directly at you. the fourth wall in acting would mean that I'd be talking to somebody else and completely ignoring that you're there. You have to talk to your audience. You have to engage with them. And that's kind of what that means by breaking the fourth wall. Grammar isn't everything, right? Speak to them on a level they understand. This is something we've already talked about. Say things out loud before posting them online. If it feels comfortable saying out loud, then post it. If it sounds like it was an exquisite day here, and we are tickled pink that we were able to be joined by this person today. If it doesn't sound like it would come out of your mouth, don't post it. Tie it to an emotion. Now, this is big, right? People don't engage with things unless they feel like they should, right? Contentment is not an emotion that people respond to. If you feel content about something, it doesn't give you a reason to take action in any way, shape, or form. It's you feel content and you feel grounded, you're gonna be there for a while, unless you have a want or a need to do more, unless you're angry or upset or excited or scared. Those emotions cause people to take action, and those emotions are great to show. I mean, not necessarily, you don't have to use negative emotions. You can use positive emotions, but you need to push. If you attach an emotion to your post or attach an emotion to your social media strategy, something that makes them feel like they need to take a next step, that is gold. Let's see here. The reason that you're probably on this webinar is because you're frustrated or you are excited, right? You're either frustrated with your social media, how it is now, or you're excited because you want to learn everything that there is to know, right? There's an emotion attached to why you decided to take an hour out of your day and come and listen to me. It's not because you're content with your social media platforms. There's a reason you are here. And there's a reason that people take action for anything. So if you can tie an emotion to encourage someone to engage into the conversation, it makes a difference. And the last one is follow up, right? Don't ghost them, which means to disappear, right? Ghost is one of those slang terms that I was talking about. Trust your gut and your plan, right? Know your limits. Don't overextend if you can't handle it. Don't be on every social media platform under the sun because you think that's what you're supposed to do, unless you're big enough to handle it. If you're a big enough company to be on every social media platform under the sun, to be able to monitor it, have a social media plan for it, to kind of move forward, to be able to respond to people in a timely manner, if you're able to do that, go for it. If you aren't able to do that, pick and choose what you need to do and how you want to do it, right? And I've got a few different things that you can do. So these are free, mostly free things, free or semi-paid things that you can do to kind of follow up. Canva, right? Canva is a program. That's actually what I made this presentation in. It has a whole bunch of templates. You can buy new templates for it. It's a free to $120 a year program to create content, to create GIFs and videos and do some basic graphic designy things without Photoshop or Illustrator. I love it because I was able to put this presentation up in like 2 hours. Took about an hour to get the colors and the format and the pictures and everything in there, and it took about an hour and a half for about content, right? So it didn't take me very long to actually put this together. Canva is an awesome tool that you can use. Hootsuite is it has like pricing things at the front, at the top, and then at the very bottom it'll say try Hootsuite for free for 3 platforms. It's a cheap way to get all your platforms in one place, schedule your posts ahead of time. Later is another cool one if you're heavily using Instagram. Later can help figure out your Instagram feed and your puzzle pieces and things of that nature. So Hootsuite and Later, awesome. Email still works. Depending on who you are and how great of a writer you are, email still works. For most industries, however, texting is better. Texting has a 98% open rate. 98%. Obviously, texting has different rules than email. You can send a lot more emails and you can send texts, and people have to be able to opt in and opt out. I mean, you've got a lot of guidelines in the world right now with privacy issues that you need to be able to understand from your businesses. But texting has kind of taken over on that side. Having both is awesome. Using online trackers like Google Analytics and Facebook Pixel to be able to know what your numbers are extremely important. How on earth are you supposed to know what's working and what's not working if you don't have those numbers in your background, right? If you don't know what those numbers are to be able to make those decisions, you just can't. You need to know what your analytics are. You need to know where people are going on your site, how many times people are going on different tabs, and how many people see it on a regular basis. Whether or not you, and where they're coming from. Are they coming from social media? Or are they coming from somewhere else? Where do you need to spend your time? These online trackers are going to be able to do that for you, right? Make sure you get as much information as possible so that you can actually create your social media plan and move forward with it. And I believe we've got the Q&A section of this here. So for the next 15 minutes, I'll take whatever questions you got about social media or online marketing. If you guys want to fill up that chat, whatever you got, just go for it. Okay, so we've got one in. It says, as we are moving from a possible in-person conference to a hybrid conference in the new year, should we create a separate social media strategy for both our audience that we are targeting to attend in person and virtually, or can the strategy be the same for both audiences? So when you are looking at your conferences in that matter, the people that are coming in person and the people that are coming virtually they could be different. There's going to be crossover for both of them. For the people that are coming virtually, you probably got people that are, if you have an opportunity to come virtually, you probably don't live close, right? You may speak different languages. You may have different issues that you're talking about, depending on if the entire conference is also being held online and in person. You might have people that are in, then you're going to have some overlap. Then you can probably use similar strategies, right? And talk to them as one audience. But even then, you've got the people that you're talking about for your major return on investment, and then you've got the smaller ones out here, right? Or maybe you're only live streaming a few panels or a certain number of panels, or kind of just part of it. Whatever those topics are going to be what you want to focus on, right? So it really just depends on your social media strategy. But for in-person and virtual, you can pretty much do very similar things for that. Although you may want to create different groups for the people that are doing virtual to kind of keep them active. Like for the people that are following on live streams or on webinars like this, you may want to do a Facebook group that they can talk about the things in between the conference and have a two-way conversation with other attendees. You may want to have different aspects for them to be able to communicate with each other just like they would in person, or side things like podcasts or like presenters. I'm sure that you've seen that if something is live, you're sitting in an audience, you're watching it live. But if you're watching it virtually, you see two people talking about a subject or things in between, like a kind of like a news conference or people talking to each other. You can definitely do that. What are the main KPIs that you look for? So I guess that really depends on your social media strategy. So if your goal is to reach as many people as possible, to get as many eyeballs on your things as possible, that is going to be reach, right? That's the KPI that you're going to look for. You're going to look at how many eyeballs, kind of take a look at this. If your goal is to get as many people on a webinar like this, right? You're going to look at your cost per lead. You're going to look at how many people actually took action with what you're doing. Because it doesn't necessarily matter if 100,000 people have seen your post, if only 10 people respond to it and 10 people take action. So if you kind of look at the numbers this way, so say that your goal is, and I'm going to keep this round, right? Your goal is to reach 10 people. I know that's not going to be a thing, but for easy math, right? Your goal is to reach 10 people, right? 10 people to take action. And you know that if you reach 100 people, you get about a 10% return. So you need to reach 100 people to get 10 people to take action, right? So you know that you need to hit that 100 people. And in order to hit that 100 people, you need to advertise. And it's going to take you $10 to reach that 100 people. $10 to reach 100 people to get 10 people to take action. That's the KPI that you're looking for. And you want to make sure that $10 is actually worth the 10 people that you're going to hit. If the money you're spending or the time you're spending isn't worth the amount of people that you're doing versus what your close rate is, then you need to figure out either how to up your close rate or how to lower that cost or that time. So when it comes to KPIs, you need to figure it out based on what your end goals are for your social media strategy. And if that doesn't necessarily clear it up, go ahead and throw another question in the chat. Are online coffee chats something that you would suggest? Yeah. I mean, as long as it works for them, as long as it's again, if it's not about you, it's really hard for you to tell people how amazing you are, which is why you guys have PR, right? But if you are talking about how amazing your speakers are and those coffee chats and things of that nature, like, because they make you amazing by proxy, like, do it. If you're talking about things that would help your following based on what kind of events that you're doing, do it. There has to be a reason for it, and you don't want to talk to somebody for no reason, and you don't want to talk to somebody that's not necessarily going to make anything better. But coffee chats can definitely help. Now, live coffee chats are better than recorded coffee chats, because you think about this right now, right? This is a live webinar. I could literally have a stroke and you would see me having a stroke live on this webinar. There is some awesomeness to that. But if it's recorded, you can watch that anytime. People kind of throw it off. People put it in the background. But something live has some value to it. It's nothing. I mean, you watch, I'm in the United States. So if you're not in the United States, right? Or you know what? Worldwide. You watch the World Cup worldwide, right? And you watch it live. You don't necessarily want to watch a recording. You want to watch it live. That's just what you want to do. You want to know everything that's going on, when it happens, and how it goes. So live video is definitely better than recorded video, going that way. What do you think about LinkedIn as a social media platform? I love LinkedIn as a social media platform, but you have to have it's the right strategy for it. Like, if you think about it in the same way that we've kind of talked about for this entire thing, LinkedIn, you just have to use it a little differently, right? Let me give you an example. Unless you're looking for a job, right? When you throw in that little blurb under your name that normally people throw in like their position, right? You don't have to write in your position. They let you write in whatever you want. So whatever you put into that little description right underneath your name can be searchable. So LinkedIn's about who you know. You've got first, second, and third connections. The first connections are the people that you actually connect with. The second connections are the connections of people that you know. And then third connections are like your third way down the line. What you put in that little thing, searchable. So when you want people to look for you organically without paying any money, you put something interesting and with search terms in that little description under your name that shows up when you do that search, right? Also, in the About Me section, like if you go to my LinkedIn, you're going to notice that my About Me section doesn't talk about me at all. I talk about my top 5 social media myths because it's interesting and it's something that people want to know. Nobody wants to know about me. You can look at the rest of my LinkedIn profile to know about me, but you can throw in your things in the About Me section that people want to know about and is searchable in those organic searches. I love LinkedIn. It's how IBTM found me to speak for you guys is LinkedIn, right? You get those opportunities. All right. So it looks like we're pretty much done here. I don't think I see any more questions coming in. So I just wanted to let you know that thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. Also on here, it's funny that you say that. I got my LinkedIn right here. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I love connecting with people. I love knowing what's going on, what's going on. I'm a trainer and I answer questions all day long. So if you have questions about social media and you kind of just want to throw it out to somebody, message me. It's fine. I'll answer questions. It's not really that big of a deal. You start driving me crazy every day, then I'm going to want to have a coffee chat with you. You can buy me some virtual coffee and we can have a chat. That's totally fine. But connect with me on LinkedIn. That's my email address right there. Go ahead, ask me questions. We can talk through some stuff. That's great. But unless anybody else has anything else to say, I am good for this webinar. I really appreciate that you were here. Really appreciate you for coming. And somebody just threw in yes. All right, cool. Yes. And I'll talk to you soon, hopefully. Have a good day.